I'm here I'm representing Loch Lord, but to be honest, Loch Lord is my role there is dealing with the regulation we've got and trying to make it work as best we can. Dealing with regulation that's 5, 7, 9, 10 years old, and trying to fit it to today's technology, and trying to explain to our American clients that come in and move into Europe why we're still using square wheels. It can be difficult, but we have to try and fix it as best we can. I also have another role. I set up and founded with two partners the Prepaid International Forum, which is a not-for-profit organisation which represents the prepaid industry both in Europe, in India and in the Middle East. We have 3 different groups that are doing that, and we work with the regulators in those countries to try and represent our industry as best we can and try to deal with some of the faults we're trying to deal with on a daily basis in my day role. So that's where I'm coming from here. I've only got 2 slides. The first one really, I think, has been covered by... I presume you press the green button. Yeah, we go. This has pretty much been covered by all the speakers today. I mean, this is what we're looking at in the MIF regulation, in the PSD regulation. We're trying to get greater transparency. We're trying to deal with the governance of the schemes, who looks after them, makes sure they work properly, and how the fee structures are going to work, and the balance between consumers, issuers, merchants, and I didn't actually put in there, but actually merchant acquirers as well. That's another sort of head in the trough, trying to see where they can eke out some part of the value chain. So I think we pretty much know where that is. But what I really want to talk about is my issues with where we are today and the sort of things that could make a brighter future. And to illustrate one of the points here, I'd just like to tell you a short story. And it's probably not so relevant now, but some of you may still remember there's a socialite in America called Paris Hilton who doesn't always understand English that well. And she was living in the UK at one stage, and she'd gone down to our local pharmacy, and she went in there to pick up some deodorant, and she asked, no, sorry, wrong joke, can't tell that one here. If you want that one, I can tell you later. But they both illustrate the same point. She actually went to a DIY store. We've got a very big one in the UK called B&Q, and I got a home base in the States, and they were running a new scheme which a man comes out to help you out if you've got problems. And she's gone in there, and she's saying this paint that I bought didn't work. She's decided she's going to paint her own house, and she'd been given a B&Q card, which is a prepaid card. And so she was painting her house, and the special offer was that the guy will come down in his orange suit, because that's what they wear, and tell you exactly what the problem is. So she rung them up. They came round, and when the guy came in, her sort of a servant opened the door, and they walked into the big house, and there she is on top of this enormous ladder, with her arms spread out with these big thick coats on, all the furniture covered, a little dog underneath one of the covers on the thing, and paint just splattered everywhere because she can't actually hold the brush to get it into the thing to spread it. So it's just, and he said, why the hell are you wearing all these coats when you're trying to put the paint on the ceiling? And she said, well, read the tin. It says, put on 2 coats for best results. So what I'm trying to illustrate there is to create a level playing field, everyone has to be able to read the regulations in the same way. And people don't. Our friends from all across Europe have different ways of reading these regulations. Even if, in the case of PSD and MLD, you've got regulations that are maximum harmonization, you still have different interpretations. And so why the hell have we got a minimum harmonization for AML? Why is for MLD a minimum harmonization, letting each country in Europe create their own problems for people that want to do business across the whole of Europe? it makes it very difficult for clients that want to work multinationally to be able to do business across multiple countries. The bugbears I have, not even discussed in the new PSD draft, or the whole question of agents and distributors. Why is it that a bank doesn't need to disclose these, yet for e-money issuers and payment institutions, all the different countries across Europe need everyone to list all their agents and give... it's in some countries it's like a 40-page dossier just to fill in to have an agent in that country. Distributors, it's slightly shorter, but you still have to list them, and it's a complicated procedure. Limited networks, absolute nightmare. You can have the brilliant program in the UK, and you want to run it in Spain, Germany, France, and you can't cross-border the exemption that you've got in one country to another, because exemptions don't cross-border. Passporting, as I said, the disparity between what banks have to do and what EMLIs and PIs have to do. Very hard to distinguish why there should be a difference. The requirements on capital and the way in which things are dealt with all cause major issues. And then my major bugbear: who the hell came up with electronic money? Absolutely meaningless drivel. It means nothing. Is it the same as a cryptocurrency? No, it's not. Someone somewhere years ago decided we're going to create a new word, electronic money. No one in the whole of Europe really understands what it is. Why do we even have it? It's a payment account. It's no different to any other account. But suddenly we've defined this term electronic money, and no one understands it. And can we get the regulators, can we get the Europeans to just say, let's merge these two directives? No, it's too difficult, too darn difficult. How can it be difficult? I'm sorry. It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole point is a payment account is defined to include electronic money accounts and deposit accounts. But still people don't know what it means when it's neither of those. It does mean something, and certain regulators in certain countries are now trying to determine what it does mean, but they don't know. The true answer is we need one account. It's an account, that's what it is. It's not electronic money, it's nothing else. And you need to define based on velocity of transactions, the type of business they're doing, the volume of business, the amount they're holding at any one time, and the length of which they're holding it. That would determine what your capital requirements should be, not some weird idea that electronic money exists. And so, how do we deal with this? We try our best to lobby the Commission over here. We lobby our own regulators and try and educate them in understanding that there's not a lot of difference between these different accounts. Weird figures on capital requirements: 75,000 electronic money transmitters, 125,000 if you operate a payment account, whatever that is, 350,000 because you're an e-money issuer, and X million if you're a deposit taker. Again, these are fixed numbers. They don't actually bear any resemblance to what the business is that takes place. Some of the biggest losses have been caused by exempt small payment institutions, bizarrely, who are the least regulated of the lot. Explain that one. It doesn't actually work. We need to be better at understanding what is actually happening in practice and how we have to deal with it on the ground when we're dealing with companies coming in trying to bring payments to work properly across multiple countries. It's very difficult. I thought I'd just throw in a little bit about cryptocurrencies. As the Prepay International Forum, we're also working alongside a new agency that's been set up called the Data Asset Transfer Association. You notice I called it cryptocurrencies, not virtual currencies, because that word, again, is a misnomer. There is no such thing as a virtual currency. It's a currency that does exist. So we call them cryptocurrencies or math currencies, and they, as a type of currency, are having the same issues that the Prepay International Forum had with prepaid when it first started off. It's exactly the same issues with the law enforcement agencies, with the regulators. No one really understands what they're doing, and they need to basically be brought into the mold. And how are we going to do that? There's two main, I think, issues with cryptocurrencies that are stopping them becoming mainstream. One is they don't run on any payment rails, which makes it difficult to deal with them. and two is that there is no benchmarking. They don't benchmark against everything. I think the third one issue that comes up with cryptocurrencies is more to do with the fact that people like the Bitcoin Foundation go about in banking conferences saying, here we are, we want to create an anarchic currency so we can buy our drugs. That doesn't help cryptocurrencies. All it does is make the enforcement agencies get even more uptight. I think there is a real role for cryptocurrencies in the future, and I think the fact that the US has actually accepted these things exist, and we've also had Germany, Norway and Singapore now accept that there is a cryptocurrency type of product which they deal with as an asset, so they can tax it. It shows that there is some sort of traction coming on these currencies, but it's going to be still quite a way down the road before it goes and becomes normal. But then again, prepaid was the same 15 years ago. Finally, overlay service providers. I think these TPPs, as we call them, but in effect there's only two that we're looking at. There's overlay service providers on the one hand and account aggregators on the other that basically accumulate information. I think there is going to be a period of comfort that needs to come through. Is regulation the right way to deal them? Does that give them more authority than they should have? Or are they, by being regulated, going to be more accountable, and therefore that's going to be better for the industry? I think the jury's out and we need to just see how things go. And that is about that. Thank you very much, and any questions I'll take later. Thank you.